It's game 3 of the football season, the first one in the Dome. Can't wait to talk about that as Orange head coach Dino Babers joins us for another Perry's Inside Scoop. And Coach, good to see you. And before we transition into the Dome game, let's kind of wrap up the second of two road trips to begin the year. You go to Pittsburgh. What's the biggest takeaway of that game for you?
Well, obviously the lack of production on offense. We had the one big play by Rex Culpepper. Again, missed opportunities. Keep shooting our own selves in the foot, and we've got to get better. We've got to find a way to move the ball and keep that defense off the field.
In the afterglow of that, obviously you leave, you're 0-2, and we know there's a lot of football stuff to work out, but the community's pretty proud of Rex Culpepper, and that was a fun story that was kind of recognized, I think, locally and nationally, that somebody who's put in all the work behind the scenes and made the sacrifices and has come back from a bout with cancer, even if he doesn't play another snap the rest of the year, to have that kind of full circle was pretty impactful, I think, for a lot of people to see.
There's no doubt God is good. I mean, Rex is one of those guys you root for him all the time. And I would advise you, if you push the numbers, don't root against him. He's one of those young men that if he sets his mind to something, he can really get it done. And it was just a great moment. I mean, he came in first play, I believe, and bang, he turns around and looks off the free safety and throws that ball down the right hash. And Taj catches it and breaks 2 tackles and runs it in. And then next thing I know, he's flying by me, and the coaches are all flying by me going into the end zone. And that's a good feeling. I like to have that feeling a lot on Saturday. That would be really awesome.
What message does that send to the rest of your program and players, Coach, about preparedness and knowing that any snap or any day could come for you?
In the old line that we always talk about in football is the next guy is up, and you don't ever want to be Wally pipped, but it's one of those situations where if the game is so physical that you're going to get your opportunities. When you get your opportunity, be ready. When is my opportunity come? IDK. But you're going to get a chance, and if you capitalize on it, you'll get more chances.
Wally Pipp was the Yankee first baseman replaced by Lou Gehrig. That was not during a pandemic. It's a little different story now because people are missing games all the time. And certainly as we get to the nitty gritty on Georgia Tech, that's one of the things for them. They had people miss their last game, not necessarily because of COVID, but I know it's hard to get a handle on the personnel. Let's talk about the facility, Coach. It's an integral part of this program. Certainly it's one of the things that makes Syracuse unique. What's your mindset here as you look to sort of lift the lid and bring the curtain up on a new version of the facility?
When I had an opportunity to decide whether I wanted to come here or not, one of the deciding factors was the dome. We're the only Power 5 school with a dome. And I just think it's a huge advantage in the Northeast. And when everyone else is going out and playing in the cold, we get to walk in and take off our coats and wear our sleeveless and watch a doggone football game in October and then November. And I'm looking forward to getting in there and seeing what it looks like. I haven't cheated. I haven't opened up my Christmas present early. I see the wrappings underneath the tree, and I watched it come up with the giant dinosaur crane. But I'm gonna be excited as a kid at Christmas going in there to see what it looks like on the inside. The outside might be the same, but the inside is going to be totally different. And I know the team, we're going to be really excited to get in there and play.
What characteristics are important to you from a football sense? Okay, we know that it's going to be just unprecedented, fake crowd noise, a different roof, a different sound system, a different scoreboard, maybe the play clock's in a different spot, those types of things, new turf. When you get an opportunity to be in there with your team, what's the checklist?
We need to get in there and we need to look at all that stuff. We're going to bring 2 sets of cleats because we don't know which cleat's going to be the best on the turf. We've got to get the kickers, the receivers, the DBs, anybody that handles the ball. The lighting's different. So we've got to look into those lights and see what we can see, what we can't see, what images we can see with those lights, with the ball being kicked and with that light behind it. All those things are important. Okay. And then just the feel of the place, because we're going into our home and it's actually the first time we're going in there. It's like a brand new home and we haven't lived there. So the advantage is not an advantage yet because we haven't played in it. But hopefully we're going to build it and build an advantage, and it's going to be a positive advantage starting on Saturday.
Well, it can be an advantage, certainly. And we talk about lack of precedent. There's never been pumped in crowd noise allowed. That means there's never been pumped in crowd noise allowed in a building with a roof. And can't wait to see and hear how that sounds on Saturday in the Dome with a noon start. Might as well get after it and start at noon. That's kind of been the theme here at the beginning. Big picture quickly, Coach. The Dome, when it opened the first time in 1980, was a recruiting weapon because of the wonder of it and how different and unique that it was. It fueled the success that would come later in the decade of the 80s. How can you use it now to show it off and to be a boon in recruiting?
Well, first of all, I think that I can promise young men something that no one else can. I said, if you come here, okay, and we're going to play 6 to 7 home games a year, I can promise you 24, okay, 6 times 4, 24 football games in perfect weather. No snow, no rain, no wind, okay? And if you're a receiver, a quarterback, a place kicker, a punter, or a DB that doesn't like playing and all that stuff,
prima donna,
I've got a huge advantage for you. Now, it may not be an advantage with the O-line and the D-line, but I know those guys when they get wet and they got the see-through clothes on and everybody can see exactly, they're not fired up about that either. So they've got some things they want to hide as well. So I think it's one of those situations where it's gonna really apply to a lot of people. A lot of people really enjoy it. And I know that the moms and dads have an opportunity to play in a professional type, to sit and watch a game in a professional type venue. And this is what the pros are like. There's not very few pro stadiums where you're out there with all the weather. Most of them you're inside dressed really nice in some doggone box and you're watching a show. Okay. And that's what we want to do. We want to put on a show in the Dome.
All right, let's spend our last couple of seconds on Georgia Tech. First ever trip by the Ramblin' Wreck into Syracuse. All of the previous games in this series have been kind of far flung and around the country. And Georgia Tech has won all 3 of the previous meetings. And this is unusual, Coach, in as much as Georgia Tech is going over a complete overhaul from Coach Paul Johnson's tenure and the triple option and the way they recruited and ran the program to the way that Jeff Collins looks at it. How do you size up this team and where they're headed?
It's difficult. Obviously UCF is a really good opponent, and they had some people missing for the reasons they had. There was personnel missing, and UCF won the game. That's all part of the 2020 season. Those things are going to happen. The big win over Florida State, to win the opener at Florida State on the road at Florida State, and that's your first ACC win. That's hard to top right there. That's really, really nice. Sorry for the whistle, but when you think about it, that's the way you start something off. Now, hopefully, they're coming up here and they're 1-1, and we haven't found we haven't had a chance to ring the victory bell yet. But hopefully, we can find a way to kind of make it a football game to the 4th quarter, and maybe we can start having some success in the W column.
All right, Coach. It's going to be historic no matter what. Can't wait for Saturday, and we appreciate your time. Best of luck.
Thank you, Matt.